Hello, my friends. Thank you so much for coming to this very last minute live stream. I had something else planned for you today, but then after I've been watching the devastation in Western North Carolina all day, not just Asheville, but many of the surrounding communities and counties, there is nothing else that I could even think about covering with you today because while I have somewhat of a platform here, I also have some of the kindest and most generous viewers on the internet. And so they need your help. They need your help. I see there's some boots on the ground in Asheville. Some people have children in Asheville. Some people are saying that their family members were able to get out of Asheville just today. And this is devastating. At least 1,000 people still unaccounted for. It could be weeks or months before they even have access to running water. I don't even know what the current count is of people without power. There are at least 35 people confirmed dead because of Hurricane Helene, and this is mass devastation unlike anything that's happened to this area in 1,000 years. And here's the thing, there's no other way in except for roadways, right, and helicopters. There's no water like there is in Florida. Florida has other resources and other ways to get help. And even DeSantis said that today. I'm going to play a little clip for you of DeSantis, who is saying, send help to North Carolina. We're good. We're good. We got this. We're used to this. They're not. And it's devastating. So many of you I know do not watch television. You don't watch regular TV. You watch YouTube, and that's where you get your news. So I'm happy to be here for you to bring this to you because many of you may not even know what's going on if you're not watching the news. And it's devastating. Hi, Sarah Beth. Just outside of Chattanooga. It's devastating seeing what happened in northeastern Tennessee and the Carolinas. Yeah. Yeah, it's very sad. Andrea, Florida is sending help to North Carolina in their own devastation. I know. I know. It's very, I mean, look, sometimes you see the good in people, right? And this is one of those times when people need to get together and need to, thoughts and prayers are great and thoughts and prayers to everyone, but we need to take action. We need to do something to help these people. I mean, these people were stranded on the roofs of their homes. If you look at my thumbnail, you can see, I'm going to pull up that picture for you. If you zoom in, you can see people on roofs. That's how devastating the flooding from this storm was and continues to be. Let me show you. If I could get it up here, hold on. So I'm going to tell you how we can help, how if you're affected and you're in the area, how you can get help, because this is the kind of information that needs to be getting out there right now. I mean, you can see if you zoom in, there's a person on the roof. This is devastating. Just devastating. I'm going to show you first some drone footage that I found of Asheville. There's no audio, so it's just video. And this was just posted about 4 hours ago today. I gotta put something in the corner so I don't get stricken. Look at that devastation. Cynthia, I'm glad you asked because I forgot to put the banner up. Thanks, Cynthia wants to know how we can help. The governor has asked for donations to go to nsc.gov/donate or /donate. The number is below for FEMA assistance for anyone who is affected and devastated by this hurricane. So many people do not have insurance to cover these losses. FEMA is available to help with serious needs, displacement, temporary lodging, basic home repair costs, personal property loss, or other disaster-caused needs. Homeowners and renters in the following counties may be eligible: Alexander, Allegheny, Ashe, Avery, Buncombe, Burke, Caldwell, Catawba, Clay, Cleveland, Gaston, Haywood, Henderson, Jackson, Lincoln, Macon, Madison, McDowell, Mitchell, Polk, Rutherford, Transylvania, Watauga, Wilkes, and Yancey counties, and the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians can all apply. I'm going to put that up on the screen. Because we're going to also watch the press conference from the governor. But first, I want to show you the press conference from the mayor of Asheville. And that is here. And this was earlier today.
The devastation in the western part of North Carolina caused by Hurricane Helene is being described as catastrophic. Joining us right now on the phone is Esther Mannheimer. She is the mayor of Asheville, North Carolina. Asheville has a population of a little under 100,000 people and is, of course, known for its art scene. The county that the city is in has reported at least 30 deaths related to Helene. And Mayor, thank you for being here in this difficult time. The pictures that have come out, the video that's come out has been horrifying. You've seen it firsthand. Can you tell us where things stand right now?
Well, I will say that the pictures don't fully capture the catastrophic damage that we've experienced here in Asheville. It's unprecedented. It's exceeded any historic storm on record. We've had the combination of incredible flooding and also damage due to winds, down trees. No neighborhood has been spared. The power and water is out, and we're entering a desperate situation.
Have you even been able to locate all of the people in need or find out exactly who's missing at this point?
So no, there are still areas of our county that cannot be accessed because roads were washed out. And making matters even more complicated is that we do not have communication. So people can't just pull out a cell phone and contact one another. You see all kinds of folks that are putting out messages who do have the ability to do so, saying, I haven't heard from my mother, I haven't heard from my brother, I need to make contact with them. And that is still an ongoing situation. The only reason I'm even able to talk to you is because I'm in downtown where there is power and some Wi-Fi service. But otherwise, just if you can think about a challenge, we are experiencing it right now.
Every major road, interstate, highway into Asheville has been damaged and is considered impassable by the authorities.
Impassable. Every single major roadway into Asheville is impassable. There's no cell phone service. People, they can't get in to save people, and people can't get out. People can't even call. They have no cell phone service. And if you've been paying attention to the news today, in other news today, Verizon had some sort of nationwide outage. This is horrifying. This is just from earlier today. I don't know why this isn't everywhere. This is...
How is help getting to you? What could you most use?
So we do have I-26 that runs down out of Asheville into South Carolina. It has been opened. So we can receive assistance that way. Also, we are receiving some assistance that's being flown into the airport. So we do have the ability, not the best, because 3 out of 4 major highways into the city are blocked due to landslides or washouts. And so it is challenging to get assistance in here. We are still waiting for the majority of what we need, being water and food. And that is a challenge to get those resources in here. And we're desperately in need of that, and we're waiting for that. We are going to have the governor of the state of North Carolina here today, according to what he's been able to tell me. He will be here with his team at around mid-afternoon.
Mayor, I'm not sure, for anybody who hasn't been following closely, they realize this is not just Asheville. This is North Carolina, Western North Carolina, a huge area that spans probably about 11,750 square miles at this point. Millions of people. That's an area the size of Massachusetts. It's surrounding states like Tennessee.
It's an area the size of Massachusetts. I know so many of you are from Massachusetts.
And Atlanta. What would help? People out there want to help. What would you suggest they do? Are there organizations you would suggest they give to? Or I take it you don't want people driving straight into town.
Right. We do need to coordinate with any major organization that's coming in to help. Of course, we have the Red Cross here, and there are other large organizations that are coordinating to provide assistance. That's obviously taking some time. The governor has asked for folks to donate to the North Carolina Disaster Relief Fund, and that's at nc.gov/donate. So that is a way to help with resources that we're in dire need of. So if folks want to help in that way. Locally, I want to tell you, I have seen amazing things from people here in our community helping one another. Pooling resources in neighborhoods, making sure to check on neighbors, trying to make sure that elderly neighbors are checked on, that someone's bringing them water to be able to do basic things like flush their toilets and have drinking water. It's truly amazing. And over and above that, our first responders are doing an incredible job. They are several days into this now, and they are nonstop. And we have support from outside organizations, other fire departments sending us resources, the federal government as well. So it's all hands on deck, and it is a well-coordinated effort, but it is so enormous. I can't even describe to you. And as the rivers recede and you can see all of the debris, people's homes in the river just decimated, cars overturned, it's hard to understand the scope of what it will take to go through and check every part of our community and make sure, unfortunately, deceased folks have been recovered, that folks who are alive but cut off have resources and are reestablished with contact.
Mayor Manheimer, we are so sorry to see what you all are dealing with there, the fallout from all of
Thank
this.
you.
We wish you well in continuing with this efforts at this point. And again, for anyone who is looking to help, as she mentioned, the governor there has asked people donate to nc.gov/donate. Mayor Manheimer from Asheville, North Carolina, thank you.
Absolutely devastating. Yuri's math teacher, thank you for gifting 10 memberships. That is so very kind and generous of you. And for those of you who are randomly gifted the memberships by YouTube, welcome. Wish this could be a happier stream for you today, but we're reporting on what needs to be reported on. Going to show you what I was telling you. I believe this was from earlier today. This is Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida.
What I would say is Florida, we have it handled. We got approved for the individual assistance things we wanted. We have what we need. Now, obviously, there may be additional things that we'll ask for in the future. It depends on how things shake out. But I think most of the effort should be in Western North Carolina right now, because you still have active rescues that need to take place. I mean, just think about, it's almost like if this area were totally cut off and every road was destroyed and all this, but you can still get places by boat. There, you can't do that. You're in, and I just think they should really, the federal government should focus on that. We're running rescue flights. We're happy to do it, but I know the federal government has more assets than the state of Florida has. So there should not be anybody left behind in those communities. Clearly, Florida residents who are still there, most of them stay. If they stay, 6 months or less than 6 months, usually by October, mid-October is when they start coming back. So a lot of them would want to come back anyways. So we have our Operation Blue Ridge. We are going to be doing that. We're going to be bringing people to safety. If we have a smaller bird, you may not be able to take as many people. The Chinook, what is that, 40 packs we can do? We could do 40 packs on a Chinook helicopter. So that may be just like maybe one whole neighborhood in these areas. And I know there's a lot of Floridians that go up there, but there's probably a lot of Floridians that have never been to those mountains. And what I will tell you is it's very pretty. It's very refreshing because there's no humidity, but it is very ragged. I mean, they build these roads and, it is not necessarily easy to get around all the time. It's not well lit all the time. It's just a different lifestyle. And so when you have something like this happen to sever the roads and the bridges and a lot of the things that happen, I mean, basically, I don't think they have any major way to even get out of a lot of those Western North Carolina places right now. That's going to require us doing the air mission. So that's why we're doing it. And I know Kevin, and we've had people sign up already. Yeah. So Kevin and his team are doing that. And, you're going to see people be brought back on our mission very, very shortly. And we're happy to do it. I mean, look, if we can bring people back from Israel by the hundreds when Hamas is raining rockets down, we should be able to get some helos into the Blue Ridge Mountains and get people out of there. But yeah, I think that just from a response perspective, this here is very important. We're going to be there, but they didn't have any fatalities. I think in North Carolina, whatever fatalities have been reported, I think that's probably just scratching the surface of what.
Yeah, there's been about, I think, 35 reported. They said that once the water receded, they were finding bodies in trees, their bodies in cars. It's going to be incredibly devastating. I don't know the exact number from Katrina. I think it was something like 1,600. They are predicting that it's going to be far worse than that.
What's possible if we don't get people in there and get them out to safety? And if you think about it, it's like, you could throw me there for 5 days, whatever, food and water, but you have like a child with special needs. You have a senior that is power dependent. You have this stuff. You run out of time very quickly. And so I think just looking at everything that I've seen in the information, I think that is where they need to make sure everybody is brought to safety. I mean, as bad as it is to see a restaurant hammered or see homes, you don't want loss of life. That is the one thing we can't rectify. We can always rectify property. We can rectify infrastructure. You can't rectify the loss of life. And, my fear is just having those areas cut off. It's a very difficult mission. So we're in the mission. We're in the fight. We're going to be bringing people back to safety, and we'll keep doing that as long as it's necessary.
Thank you. I think the latest count, I thought it was 35 in Asheville alone, but we've got across 6 states. The latest update I have from CNN is 128. Almost 2 million customers still don't have power. And so many people, 35 people in Buncombe County, but most of North Carolina's 56 deaths, it says, happened far inland. And that was just last updated at about 5 p.m. Eastern. It's now 7:20 Eastern. So those were the latest numbers that CNN is posting. This is unfortunately and very sadly the time when scammers come out of the woodwork. So this Verizon outage today is also being talked about as perhaps some other kind of hack. So this is a good time to break because I know this stream is going to be shadow banned. But thank goodness we have a sponsor. Our sponsor can help you with scammers, spammers, and all kinds of things like that. So let's just take a minute to listen to a word from today's sponsor of this channel and today's show, Aura. Today's video is sponsored by Aura, and it's a really important time to be talking about them because hackers may have stolen the social security numbers of every American. Over 2.9 billion records were stolen from National Public Data, which offers personal information to employers, private investigators, staffing agencies, and others doing background checks. These stolen records include a person's full name, address, date of birth, social security number, and phone number, along with alternate names and birth date. And members of this hacker group have reportedly released this information on the dark web for free. I don't know if you've ever had your identity stolen, but I've had clients who've had their identity stolen. And not only is it a major hassle, but oftentimes before you find out, it's too late. The damage can take years to undo, and it's a hassle that you definitely do not want to deal with. So if you haven't been taking precautions before with your personal information online, this should be a huge wake-up call. You've never been more vulnerable online than you are right now. But I'm not too worried about it because I use Aura. Aura alerts me if they find my phone number, my email, my social security number, or any other personal information on the dark web. They're going to let me know fast if anyone tries to use this information to access my credit or bank accounts. They give me up to $5 million in identity theft insurance should the worst case scenario happen. They also provide a bunch of other features to keep you safe online, all inside one app. And you can go to my link at www.aura.com/Melanie Little to try it for free for 14 days. That'll be enough time for Aura to find out if any of your personal information or data has been exposed. I highly recommend you do this right now because not only is National Public Data not going to do anything to help you, they probably aren't even going to face any repercussions for this breach. I'm not leaving myself and my family vulnerable to data breaches. And if you don't want to either, you want to go to my link, www.aura.com/Melanie Little, to try 2 weeks for free. You can thank me later. Okay. Thank you so much to Yuri's math teacher who says, everyone, please do whatever you can to support the recovery effort. We are a community for a reason. That's right. Thank you. Thank you so much for your very, very generous $100 super chat. And you're right. I have a platform and I know who you guys are and I know what you guys can do. And if anybody can do it, you guys can. Thank you so very much. Let's take a look at the press conference from North Carolina, Governor Cooper, which was just at about 3:30 Eastern.
Ready? Well, good afternoon, everybody. This has been an unprecedented storm that has hit Western North Carolina. It's requiring an unprecedented response. We're here today with FEMA officials, state officials, local officials, working hard to surge resources into this area. There are 92 rescue teams out working, doing search and rescue right now. Power outages have been reduced to about 415,000. Progress is being made on increasing cellular service, and we're dealing with a situation that is unlike anybody's ever seen in Western North Carolina. I'm going to recognize Emergency Management Director Will Ray to give you some specifics, but today we did an aerial overview to see the damage here in Western North Carolina, and it is extensive and devastating. We know that it's going to require significant resources, both in the short term and the long term. We also went to Mission Hospital and saw the heroic efforts that are being made there by hospital personnel to make sure they continue to treat patients. We visited downtown Asheville, talked to a restaurant owner who's serving food free to people, to hotel owners who are making their hotels available to first responders. We went out to Baptist on Mission, and water, food being served to people. So everyone is pulling together to meet the needs of people in Western North Carolina. But we know there's a long way to go. And we're here today to talk a little bit about that. So first, I want to recognize Will Ray, the Director of North Carolina Emergency Management. Will?
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon, everyone. As the governor said, we're here with FEMA today to really take an opportunity to survey the damage, not just here in Buncombe County, but in the western counties that have been so significantly impacted by this event. We currently have 15 county EOCs that remain open, with 31 states of emergency in place. Of the 92 search and rescue assets that the governor mentioned, 3 of those are federal teams, 22 are from other states, and 54 are organic to North Carolina, and really cannot overstate the importance of partnership both here in North Carolina, as well as the support that we have had from our colleagues in other states, as well as the federal government. Today, we are continuing to ramp up pushes of commodities, particularly water and MREs, as well as fuel and other resources into the impacted communities. We are increasing the number of assets we have on the road and in the air to be able to make those moves, as well as working with FEMA to be able to sustain those levels over the next couple of weeks as we look over the horizon at what the duration of this event and the recovery could be. We currently have 3 feeding sites open. Those are in Buncombe, McDowell, and Watauga. We did visit one of them earlier today, as the governor mentioned. Currently, over 7,000 North Carolinians have already taken an opportunity to register for FEMA individual assistance, and there is already money flowing into people's pockets, again, to start getting them off on the right foot and assist them in their recovery.
For those of you who need it, I have the number for FEMA scrolling below, as well as their website, which is disasterassistant.gov. They say that the website is the fastest way to get financial assistance. Otherwise, the number is 1-800-621-FEMA or 621-3362.
We have a state medical support shelter that is also open to assist both with decompression of our healthcare facilities, but also long-term cares that may have had damage and may need to move patients into a safer and secure location. And we're also standing up a second location that can be scaled up significantly should we be needed. Unfortunately, our confirmed fatalities for this event have increased to 33 over the day and into the evening yesterday. As the governor said, we are seeing a increase in capacity and capability in the communications sector across Western North Carolina. We still have a ways to go, but we have 16 911 centers that are still currently degraded with fallback plans in place. That's an improvement from what we have seen over the last couple of days. Lastly, we have 121 systems that currently have boil water advisories. And of those, 33, like we have discussed before, are in need of their testing to clear those advisories. And we have 36 systems that currently have no power. We're working with our federal partners, as well as our partners here at the state, on getting the right resources in to be able to bring these critical water systems back online. Lastly, I would just say thank you again to the county, the city, Mission, all the partners here in this jurisdiction that are doing such incredible work to care for the needs of this community and of Western North Carolina. Thank you, Governor.
D Love of God, are you there? Says Mercury 1 on the ground in Asheville, bringing supplies by helicopter. Locals helping each other. We're closed off further west. Cash only, stores out of water. Lines, cash only gas that's left. I saw, and I didn't want to post it because I don't know how accurate some of this stuff on Twitter is, but there was video of a gas station charging $10 a gallon for gas, and they were pretty angry that people were videotaping them. And everyone's lining up with their gas cans, $10 a gallon, cash only. This is heartbreaking. You're right, Serene, it is.
We've been grateful to have the FEMA administrator with us all day, and she's going to be here for a while. She's gotten to see firsthand what's happening here in North Carolina and gotten to hear some needs directly from people. So FEMA Administrator Dan Criswell. Administrator.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon, everybody. First, I just wanted to start by saying on behalf of the Biden-Harris administration, our deepest sympathies go out to those who have lost loved ones, those who have incurred damages as a result of this storm. And at the president's direction, we are going to be here as long as it takes to finish this response and continue through the recovery. As you heard this from the governor, this is a historic storm with catastrophic impacts across many communities. But I want the people of North Carolina to know that we have the resources here in North Carolina to help with this response, to begin the recovery. We will continue to send additional resources in. So far, we have over 1,200 personnel from across the federal family supporting the response efforts. That includes things like our search and rescue teams, our medical teams from Health and Human Services, the Army Corps of Engineers that are doing assessments of water systems and power infrastructure. And we have our incident management assistance teams that are embedded at the State Emergency Operations Center, as well as in the county or the local communities, so we can have seamless communication with those on the ground in the impacted areas, as well as with the state, so we can move those resources as quickly as possible. I was able to see some of the devastation today while I was with the governor, and we're already starting to think ahead about the resources that might be needed as the recovery is going to continue, or even to provide some rest and relief for the responders that have been working so hard day in and day out since this storm passed. We're going to be bringing in additional DoD medical teams to help support some of the long-term sustainable needs to run some of the medical facilities. We'll continue to bring in additional search and rescue resources as needed. We're going to continue to also bring in the Army Corps of Engineers to start planning. They've already started planning, but more resources for the debris removal, as this is going to have a significant debris removal mission. I think the biggest thing that I can say right now is, again, at the direction of the president, he has asked me to make sure that we have every federal resource available to support the people of North Carolina, and thinking about those resources in perhaps a way that we wouldn't traditionally use them. And he has directed me to stay as long as it takes to ensure that all of our federal family are here supporting North Carolina, and we're meeting the needs that the governor has identified. Thank you.
Thank you, Administrator. Our North Carolina National Guard has played a significant role both in search and rescue and in the delivery of commodities. I'm going to recognize the Adjutant General of the North Carolina National Guard, Major General Todd Hunt.
Thank you, Governor. And first of all, I want to thank the National Guardsmen for their dedication and service for the state of North Carolina. I'd also like to thank the Asheville Airport for being our partner and helping to distribute commodities through our airlift, which you see behind me. Right now, the National Guard, we have over almost 800 people on duty for this specific event. Our primary responsibility and our primary focus right now is still search and rescue or recovery, and then a relocation, followed by commodities. This morning, we brought in 100,000 pounds of water and commodities on a C-17. We've also done 100,000 pounds through our helicopter lifts that we have. We'll continue to service the area. We've hit 8 counties within the region already with commodities. And we're going to continue to push soldiers into the region to help the citizens of the Western North Carolina. Thank you, Governor.
One of the major issues we have is ingress and egress and making sure that we clear roads. We still have some communities that are cut off. Our North Carolina Department of Transportation has been working hard to clear roads and to get roads back open. I'm going to call on our Secretary of Transportation, Joey Hopkins.
Thank you, Governor. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, our hearts go out to everyone here in Western North Carolina. We have employees that are directly impacted by this, as well as everybody else that has friends and families. We have at this time over 300 roads closed due to damage, landslides, rock slides, fallen trees, mud on the road. Some roads are breached, some bridges are gone. Right now, I-40 in the western part of the state is probably the worst damage we have. There's about a 4-mile section where we lost eastbound 40. We are hopeful that we can open 40 on the east side of Asheville in the coming days. Right now, that is open, but it's only open to people responding to the storm. It's not open to the public at this time. The damage is severe, and we're continuing to tell folks, if you don't have a reason to be in North Carolina, do not travel on the roads of Western North Carolina. We do not want you here if you don't live here and you're not helping with the storm. So that'll continue to be our message pushing forward in the coming days. If you've been on the map apps, they are also sending that same message out. So we'll continue saying that.
If you're just joining, this is just from earlier today. This is not a couple days ago. This is just from today.
This is an all hands on deck type of event. We have over 1,600 employees working now. We have over 73 contract crews helping us also, and that number is growing every day. We have crews coming from other states. Tomorrow, Florida is sending crews up here to help us, and they're also bringing some assets like temporary bridges to help us make temporary repairs. So we're doing that. And I do want to say again that many of our crews that are working, they have not been home. They do not know what their own damage is. And due to the communication issues, they have not been able to find out from their own families how they're doing. So I'm very thankful and grateful for their dedication as public servants in the state of North Carolina, and my hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to them too. In an effort to help, we've also secured a location for housing for our employees, because some of the hotels either don't have power or water, or the ones that do be set up in the next day or so for about 250 people, and we're working on that. And I also want to echo what the governor and others have said. I want to thank our many partners, along with our staff, that helped to alert people. It helped to respond to storms and downed trees. That goes from the North Carolina National Guard to the State Highway Patrol, local law enforcement, first responders, and even private citizens are helping clear trees. We learned today that Mission Hospital has also helped to clear trees from roads so their employees can get to the hospital to help serve the critical care needs of our people in Western North Carolina. And lastly, I want to thank our federal partners at FEMA and FHWA. You can see FEMA boots on the ground here, and we're grateful for that and grateful for their assistance. I've been in contact with our FHWA division administrator and also the acting FHWA administrator we've ever seen in North Carolina. And I just ask for your patience as we continue to try to solve the transportation issues here in North Carolina. Thank you.
We're also concerned about our healthcare facilities, our hospitals, our nursing homes. We have with us today Secretary of Department of Health and Human Services, Cody Kinsley.
Thank you, Governor. As Governor Cooper said, we have been focused at the Department of Health and Human Services on ensuring the stability of our healthcare system here in the region. We have 22 acute care hospitals in Western North Carolina. As of last night, all had their power restored back onto the grid. All of them had generator power during the storm, so we're able to continue operations and supporting their communities. And we've been in direct, near hourly contact with those facilities to support a number of resource requests. And with support from the North Carolina National Air Guard and emergency management, we've been able to get food, water, fuel, and other supplies to those healthcare facilities to make sure that they stay operating. Today, we went to Mission Hospital to see firsthand the heroic efforts of the individuals at that hospital, over 1,000 staff that have been sleeping there every day to ensure they could continue operations and supporting their community. We continue to work to bring them resources. They had their power back on Saturday night, and I know we're all focused, working very hard to restore water resources in that community, but meanwhile bringing in temporary solutions to support water there. We're also very focused on our long-term care community and facilities, skilled nursing homes, adult care homes, and we're proactively working with our insurers to identify individuals that are at home on oxygen and other medical supplies to make sure we can proactively reach out to them, support emergency management to bring resources to them. We've activated our patient transfer system so that hospitals all across the state are stepping up to bring individuals in need of critical care out of hospitals in Western North Carolina if they can't get the care immediately. Our entire department has rallied every resource to make the difference. We're so grateful for the work of FEMA, who immediately brought forth a disaster medical assistance team on the ground at Mission Hospital, and we are in this for the long haul and into recovery. Thank you.
We also have with us the Secretary of Department of Public Safety, Eddie Buffalo, our head of the Highway Patrol, Freddie Johnson, and Congressman Chuck Edwards is here as well. We'll be glad to take your questions.
Yeah, we're going to start with questions out here with the community. Governor, any update as to the number of people that remain unaccounted for missing as of this afternoon? And given the sheer volume of the death toll and the number of people missing, do you feel like enough can be done to get people out before the storm hits?
Well, first, we knew that this was going to be a significant event, and local officials told people to get out of low-lying areas. We also know there are going to be a significant number of fatalities here. The devastation was beyond belief. And even when you prepare for something like this is something that's never happened before in Western North Carolina. Search and rescue teams are continuing to work. We even talked with some people who are still hoping to get and talk with their people. And as phone service comes back up, we'll know a little more. I'm going to ask Will Ray to respond specifically to see if he knows that number. Do you know the number of people? Okay, we don't know the number that has been requested.
Thank you, KKB, for posting in the chat. If you're missing a loved one, dial 211. Ham radio operators are doing wellness checks as state and local government do search and rescue. Thank you. That's very important information.
But we ask people to call 211 if they're trying to get a hold of somebody. Don't call 911 right now on that kind of issue.
Next question, WLS.
Yeah.
Governor Cooper, you mentioned progress being made on cell service. That's a big issue in all areas of Western North Carolina. What makes you say progress?
He's talking about issues with cell service. The reporter, that's the question.
On that, and what areas can expect that cell service?
So we're getting reports from AT&T and Verizon. Their initial problems were significant in that landslides cut main fiber lines for them. We've asked them and pushed them to bring in their deployable assets. So more of them are getting into the area, and we're getting reports that more and more have cell service. Will, would you want to add something to that?
I would say progress is the key. We know we still have a lot of work to do again, but I think we are pushing our commercial providers as well as other partners across the commercial space to bring in mobile assets of a variety of types to be able to provide to critical sites, to local EOCs, to some of our public safety answering points or other critical facilities. Again, they are very integral to what we do. They're a huge piece of it. We know communications is important for everybody, and so we're going to continue to push and encourage there.
Next question right here. Right here, Governor.
Sorry. Yeah.
Governor, what do you say to the residents who feel that the local and federal response wasn't fast enough following this storm?
What do you say that the response wasn't fast enough?
People are working around the clock to provide help to them right now. Food, water, working hard to make sure that we've got shelters open all across this area and working to get power back on. When you have a situation where communities are completely cut off, when first responders can't even get in because water is still there and rivers are rising right now as we speak. A lot of work is done. What we want to tell people is that more help is on the way and help is continuing. This is our main mission right now, and this is a massive coordinated effort to help this area, both in the short term and in the long term.
Next question right here. Governor, I spoke with Buncombe County and Asheville.
Can you talk about Buncombe County and Ashe County?
Yeah, I'm going to let Director Ray answer that issue.
So I think as we think about the size and scale of event, that's why we have taken the approach that we have, especially for distribution of water and food. So where we are able to get ground routes in reliably and safely, we are using those routes. There's, as Secretary Hopkins mentioned, there is a ground route in through on I-40. There is a ground route in via I-26. We know there are many areas of the western part of the state that are still have major access challenges, which is why we've put in place the operation you see here of moving, using aircraft to move commodities into those impacted areas. Right now, we are trying to surge as much of the commodities into the entire impacted region. Yesterday, as an example, either via ground or by air, 30 counties had commodities delivered to them yesterday. We know that we're not going to be able to meet right now out of the gate the universal need that everyone has. That's why we are surging up both our distribution. So we're putting additional drivers on to be able to get more trucks on the road, to get commodities in faster. We're continuing to increase the number of aircraft that are operating, and we're working with our partners in FEMA to increase the amount of commodities that we're getting pushed from them every day. Currently, we're on a cycle now of 40 trailers a day of food and water, in addition to what we're procuring on the open market or have in our warehouses that we are working to distribute into the entire impacted area across North Carolina.
Next question, Spectrum. We only got time for one question per hour. Spectrum.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Do you have a timeline of when you expect to have running water? Do you have a timeline of when you expect to have running water?
The impact to our water systems across the state, especially here in Buncombe and Asheville, are significant. As the administrator said, we're using some of our partnerships with the U.S. Army Corps and FEMA to get some teams on the ground to determine what is the long-range solution to get these water systems back online, as well as plan some of the mid-range solutions to get the hospital, other critical infrastructure back online so that folks do have running water. I think we are, and back to the previous question, I will say we have continued to deliver water both here to Buncombe County to support Buncombe as well as the city of Asheville. We know there's more need there. We know there is more that they need in both food and water, and we will continue to surge those resources in to be able to support that local jurisdiction.
Can you expand on what?
Thank you, KKB, who is, I believe, boots on the ground on the area. North Carolina peeps that want to help, call your local fire departments. Many are rotating crews every few days to help and are taking donations on every run they make.
You're doing the Help Michigan running water again. We've spoken with doctors who are having to do procedures, deliver babies, and they don't have sterile equipment to do so.
We're saying, how can doctors deliver babies and do procedures without having sterile equipment to do so?
Right now, Mission Hospital is bringing in upwards of 20 trucks a day of water to support the hospital's operations, in addition to package sterile water so they can continue operations. We know it's a huge challenge for the hospital, and we're working actively with them to determine other potential strategies. As Director Ray said, midterm solutions that will get running pressurized water into the facility as soon as possible is a top priority for us.
Thank you. Next question. Open. Great.
Thank you.
So that's the time we've got.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the photos and the most recent report from, this is Asheville Citizen Times. And this is current as of 6:44 p.m. It is now 7:51 p.m. Let me refresh this. They are now saying the Western North Carolina death toll in Buncombe County is 40 people. And here's some still photos of the area. This is the Whitson Avenue Bridge that crosses the Swananoa River, completely washed out. This is the Whitson Avenue Bridge over the Swananoa River, in Swananoa, North Carolina. That was taken today. This is near Biltmore Village in Asheville. This was on the 28th of September. Massive, massive devastation. This is the Rocky, this says the Rocky Broad River flows into Lake Lure and overflows the town with debris from Chimney Rock, North Carolina. I think those of you who know, Chimney Rock is basically gone. That's what I was reading earlier. Approximately 6 feet of debris piled on the bridge from Lake Lure up to Chimney Rock, blocking access. This is the road into historic Biltmore Village. Just utter devastation. You can go to citizen-times.com to see more and updated reports from this local Asheville publication. Here's some information this is heartbreaking stories, but this is what we need to watch today. This is from Fox News. This is speaking to some local Asheville residents. This is earlier today.
And we start this hour with that Fox weather alert. Nearly 100 people are known to be dead as Helene has devastated the southeast and the mid-Atlantic.
Millions continue to wake up without power as rescue operations are underway across the region.
Fox weather correspondent Robert Ray is live in Asheville, North Carolina, as the sun comes up. Robert, what are you seeing? Are the cleanup crews starting to arrive?
Yeah, good morning to you. Indeed, we will begin to see aid and cleanup begin as the sun has come up here. And Lloyd Alford behind the lens as I'm walking through the mud as the water recedes. Lloyd, train your lens over there and show them some of the debris that has come in from this flash flooding scenario in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene that came in, the impacts on Friday morning. And you see in the distance water and tractor trailers overturned. 99 people across multiple states have lost their lives, nearly 40 in the state of North Carolina. And as I stand here and speak to you this morning, there are many people that are still out of communication zones. Cell service is minimal, and we can see the impacts from the air and the ground in some of the video that we're potentially looking at right now. Power is a major issue. Fuel is an issue. There is little or no resources for food and water, and aid is trying to make its way in. We are told there are over 2,000 federal government employees on the ground here, and that there is over 5,000 National Guard troops that have been called in to try and help. Search and rescue is still active here today, as many people in some of these towns that are up in the hills are cut off because of lack of communication. And so if there's missing people, we hope that that is the scenario, that they just have not been able to get cell phone and communication out. As a matter of fact, I got a text from someone whose daughter lives here in the hills, and he just heard from her this morning. And so we know that President Biden and Kamala Harris, Vice President, will be here at some point later this week. Donald Trump will be in Valdosta visiting that devastated town. Multiple people are on the ground here trying to assist as far as state, local, and federal government. And on top of that, unfortunately, we have nearly 2 million customers still without power in multiple states, from Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. This is an epic disaster that will likely cost over $100 billion, as Helene has ravaged many people and uprooted lives and taken lives.
100 billion with a B dollars. Cajun Gumbo, thank you for the 10, says, I live in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, but born and raised in Louisiana. I know several hurricane relief crews from Louisiana that are helping. Reminds me of Katrina. So sad. Thank you. Thank you, Cajun Gumbo. Thank you, Sarah. Thoughts and prayers for everyone impacted. AJ Charles, thanks for being a member for 3 months. Hurricane Harvey changed me forever. Thank you to All About Me for becoming a member.
Back to you guys.
So, Robert, millions of Americans live along disaster-prone areas like the coast, along the Atlantic Ocean and along the Gulf Coast, and they expect this kind of stuff when a hurricane comes ashore. But you're in North Carolina. I mean, they're not only suffering from unimaginable, as Roy Cooper, the governor there, said, damage and destruction from the water and the flooding, but also mudslides. Nobody saw that coming. And that's one of the reasons a lot of the roads, 200 roads, have been impacted, and it slowed down the response.
Well, you're right. And look, it was forecasted that we would get this kind of impact. But the problem is that this hasn't occurred in well over 100 years. And so, the human mind is short, right, in memory. And the topography here, you don't know where this water's coming from, per se, unfortunately. And when that much water falls from the sky, nearly 3 feet in some spots, and makes its way into the river system and in the hills here, you don't know whether it's coming in and ruining your business and your home. And so I think we have a lot of lessons to learn from Helene. Certainly, this needs to be looked at. And let's listen, if we can, just real quick, to one gentleman's description of what is going on here on the ground. I just want you to hear him and not me.
It's been an incredibly apocalyptic weekend for all of us here. Almost no gas. There is almost no cell service. There's limited power. There is limited food. There are people who are trying to find potable water to feed their families, to have water for their kids.
What's your name?
Jacobina.
And guys, I have a live guest here. Just walked up. What is your name?
Jacobina Ula.
And what have you gone through here? You have an artist gallery here. What has this been like?
Studio. I have a studio, Northlight Studios. It's one of the few that is saved. But all my colleagues lost everything.
What was this like? Were you prepared for this kind of
No,
deluge?
I came from Florida after Hurricane Ian. I thought this is the area.
Copper Boom, you're living it. You're down there. Your boots on the ground. Tell us what you need. Other than the things that I'm posting, tell us how people can help.
To be safe, and this is not safe.
So even though the forecast called for this much rain, were you expecting this impact?
No, not at all. Not at all. I had no clue.
Do you feel like the messaging could have been better?
No, because they said this could happen, but it was hard to believe.
How about aid? Communication, do you feel like that's been going okay?
No.
What needs to happen?
We need to get some kind of radio station that is safe somewhere, maybe not where the weather is going to hit, and that everybody can tune in, because we only get some commercials, and that's not what we're waiting for. We want to know what to do.
How is your family and loved ones doing?
We're all good. We have power and water, but I live in Candler.
Yeah.
So we're up the hill.
Anyone you know that needs help right now?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
There's still many people cut off too.
I know. That's the problem. We don't have internet service, no cell, no nothing. So that's the big.
No cell, no power, no internet, no water. I don't know that this is being talked about enough. I don't know. You guys tell me. Have you seen a lot of coverage on this, depending on where in the world you're watching from? Somebody said that, oh, this was a great comment, Aaron Hudson. There's a lot of small businesses in downtown that will need support too. French Broad Chocolates is one and can be bought online. Amazing chocolate. Thank you for that. It's always good to support local businesses. Jay Hendricks says, if you can show Ryan Hall pre-hurricane at the 3:40 mark for 3 minutes, he said these areas would be affected the worst. Kudos to the work they do. I can't really swipe another creator's stream. I never do that without permission. But if you guys don't know who Ryan Hall, y'all, is, he's a storm chaser. He has a YouTube channel. And I was watching his coverage, I guess, late last week. And he's pretty amazing. Somebody said that he was matching all donations. Can anybody confirm that for me? Let me see if I can just pull up his channel over here on the side. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. He had something like 134,000 people in his chat last week. I said to Team Brittany, who also mods for WFLA, JB, you guys had a ton of people in your chat too, but I said, imagine trying to moderate that chat with 134,000 people. The name of his channel is at Ryan Hall, y'all. He's got over 2 million subscribers, and he's a professional weather analyst, storm chaser, and a dad. So if anybody can confirm that. I've also put the donation link below. I'm also going to show you the press release from the governor's office. See what the refresh it. Here's information on how to apply for FEMA assistance after the hurricane. It says North Carolina homeowners and renters in 25 counties on the eastern band of Cherokee Indians who had uninsured damage or losses caused by Hurricane Helene may be eligible for FEMA disaster assistance. I heard something earlier, I think on a different press conference, where it said that people may be eligible for up to $80,000 in assistance, depending on your needs. It says FEMA may be able to help with some serious needs, displacement, temporary lodging, basic home repair costs, personal property loss, or other disaster cause needs. Homeowners and renters in Alexander, Allegheny, Ash, Avery, Buncombe, Burke, Caldwell, Catawba, Clay, Cleveland, Gaston, Haywood, Henderson, Jackson, Lincoln, Macon, Madison, McDowell, Mitchell, Polk, Rutherford, Transylvania, Watauga, Wilkes, and Yancey counties, and the eastern band of Cherokee Indians can apply. I've got that scrolling below, disasterassistance.gov. You can use the FEMA app or call the FEMA number, but I did also hear on that earlier press conference that the fastest way to get assistance is through the website. But that's very difficult for people who don't have internet and don't have power and can't get out of where they are. And understand what we heard earlier also is that the area affected is the size of the entire state of Massachusetts. So there's that. This is governor.nc.gov. That is their website. And here's hopefully a heartwarming story about a World Central Kitchen who's beginning to provide meals across Western Carolina to people in need. Western North Carolina, excuse me.
And we start this hour with that Fox
Maybe there
weather.
will be some good to come of it. Somebody said we have continuous coverage here outside of Greensboro. Yeah, but it's the rest of the country and the world that can help. That's why it needs to be a bigger story, right? Thanks, Terry. Gloria says Ryan's matching up to 10,000. So each donation that's up to 10,000, he's going to match. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. Fantastic. So if you can, donate, help. They need supplies. They need water. They need baby formula. They need lots of things. Dee, thank you so much. I'm in Washington State line crews from my town. Send crews with line trucks and supplies to the affected areas. They have 2 days. They leave 2 days before the storm and drive in as far as they can, work in as they go. Thank you. Thanks, Dee, and thanks for being a member for 11 months. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. I thought I wanted to update you on this very tragic story to see if you guys can share the story out. If you can help in any way that you can, dial 211 if you are looking for family members or people do not call 911. They are overloaded. The link for FEMA and the phone number for FEMA, if you need assistance, is scrolling below. And if you'd like to donate, I've pinned the donation link for northcarolina.gov in the chat. I've also got it scrolling below. Oh, up to $10,000? I don't know. Whatever it is, it's very, very generous of him. So that is so very kind of him. I don't think, yeah, it's been national nonstop news, but I really don't think until the water receded, we knew the full effect and the true devastation until perhaps today. So for all of you who came to join me tonight, thank you so very much. I appreciate you so very much. Moderators, thank you for keeping it classy. I can't believe there were some people in the chat not being classy tonight, really. Even with this story. Thank you to Yuri's math teacher for being so kind and generous, as always. And to Sherilyn for the Cash App. I appreciate you so much. And to someone who sent me a matcha latte, thank you so much. Prayers up for everyone in Western North Carolina who are devastated by this horrific Hurricane Helene. And I will be here to cover anything else for you that I can. Be cool, be kind, be classy, my friends. It is not hard, really. It's so not hard. Peace.